Good evening. There we go. Trying to get the lighting right. Can never get the lighting right. Can't get the mic right. Can't get the lighting right. Okay, I'll just have a haze on me. That's how we'll do it. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Feeling a wee bit crazy with all the energies. Oh, I bet. Well, I wanted to. Today's Friday, and it's actually my Friday. I'm back. I froze. Everything just went duh, and I am back. Hello. So sorry about that. Um Mercury retrograde, I guess. And so I went and I plugged everything in and my no, it wasn't dead. I'm at halfway. Anyways, it's plugged in. I'm back. Maybe they just didn't want me on. Mercury retrograde. Oh my goodness. And this weekend, whew, yeah, long week, exhausting week. I am so exhausted. Um, I could hardly wait till this day was over. It was very long and um man, um let's get into it. Let's get into it. This weekend is going to start to become crazy. Uh I'm going to pull some stuff up here on my phone. That's what I'm doing. So I'm hoping everybody had a fabulous week and everybody's staying strong out there. Um, but as Pluto stationary stationary directs this week, it's um it's going to start we're going to start really feeling uh, a lot of I guess a lot of heaviness because I mean Pluto's at the end of Capricorn, and it is going to go, I mean, it's going to go stationary and go direct. So, this is where a lot of mental illnesses come out. So, a lot of people with mental illness start to, things really start to occur. So, if you have any forms of mental illness, from depression to, I would say, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, uh, psychosis or anything like that, personality disorder, whatever whatever it is, anxiety and stuff. This coming into this weekend and going into next week, I'm going to put it, off the charts for energy. And if you've been struggling with a lot of illnesses or health and things along that line, you're going to like it's going to feel very heavy. You're going to feel the struggle with it all. And the moon right now is in Sagittarius and with the sun in Libra. I mean, you got the fire, it really wants to go, but Mercury's retrograde right now, and Venus is in the underworld at this present moment, soon to return to become, the evening star. And Mars isn't going as fast as you want to. So my little Geminis, I mean, you might be feeling like you're going, and then you suddenly just bang, your energy isn't going as strong as what it was, right? And this is where you really want to take your time to breathe, take the time out. It's very, very important right now. Sun in is Sun on my ascendant, and the moon on my moon. Crazy. Yeah, and the sun is just highlighting on, sun on your ascendant. That means this is where I need to be rising too. It's highlighting the things that are needing to be worked on. And with the sun being there, and then with the moon being on your moon, that's just internalizing, your feelings with it all, with the moon in Sagittarius, especially. That's your spiritual side. So Sag is the holder, the judgment. Sag just holds you accountable for things. So when the Sages come in, there's an accountability. What are you being accountable? Now, if it's an internal accountability, and then the obsessiveness could come in with, oh my God, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that. So, and then that can cause you to really go, feeling less of yourself and feeling low and things along that line. So, you really have to watch yourself and your mental well being with that as well. So, the energies are horrendous. Now, okay, I know a lot of you follow me because you like my predictions, right? And it's not only that I'm just cute and loving and really adorable. I mean, yes, there's that part too that you love about me as well. But uh it's my predictions. Now, a few things that have been going on, and um with the explosion that happened in the Baltic Sea, that's that was a little bit wonky. Now, we per se, we don't know who did it, and I'm not going to say who did it or anything like that, because YouTube might pull me again. I already got one warning, but in that note, like and subscribe, get me up there, baby, get me up there. And with the energies right now, and with what's happening, there's a dance that's happening with all of this. Now, a lot of things aren't being mentioned in the news, which is really horrendous, from the pound dropping. Now, when you see that, I mean, that's crazy within itself, because Jupiter is coming down to um is retrograde, and being in Aries, and Saturn is squaring off with Uranus. So we see this dollar drop. Now, I mentioned that dollars, currency and dollars are going to be going, and they had to do a buyout or buy in or buyout. Anyways, they had to go in with the bonds, because if that totally dropped, then it's just sort of like a saving grace time. That's what they're doing with the UK dollar. And I'm going to say that you're going to see it happen with the euro. You're going to see it happen with the US dollar as well. There is where they can't prop it up anymore. They can't do this prop up anymore. There are certain things that I can see happening, or what they may happen, which was very similar to what they did in 1931, where they closed down the banks for 8 days, just to reset everything, to reset the economy, the currency, and then you have to build back from there. And there is that happening, and even within the UK right now, and the dollar dropping. Now the dollar's down to, I think, $1.12 US, which I've never seen in my lifetime, really. I mean, the pound has always been worth more. So it's interesting to see this happening at this time. So it's, one of those things that's happening when you look at the economy, when you look at when it comes to the money. Now, this is what they call a bear market. It is where it isn't where you start buying with the dips and stuff like that. get financial advice from somebody who's gone through this kind of shit before. Not some young whippersnapper who's just like, yeah, just buy, buy, buy. Uh, that's that's not what you should be doing at this time. So there is a lot that's happening, even with Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, you got to be extremely careful with, because now the government's going after people with Bitcoin and everything else like that. So the markets right now are crashing. They're dipping down, and we're seeing that with that Saturn Uranus square, and we're going to be seeing it coming pretty. I mean, it's pretty much exact now. What is it at? Saturn is 18 degrees, 59 seconds, and 35. And Uranus is 23. So they're pretty freaking close, but yeah, it's nutty. That's all I gotta say. It's really, really nutty. And Saturn is making, or Uranus, or no, Neptune is making a sessi squat in between Saturn and Pluto. So Saturn, there's this energy going between Saturn and Pluto, and that's really causing some heavy duty illusionary energy. Could be some alien energy coming in there. This is where there's an activation in there, so Neptune can really be leading people off the garden path. You might be, wanting to stray off of something that, maybe you've been really good and you haven't been doing your drugs or alcohol or any form of addiction, and this is where you could get led off the path, right? So just be careful with that. Really watch as things unfold, because even with this Libra season, and we have the new moon, and then we'll be having the full moon, and then then on October 25th you're going to have the lunar eclipse, and that's at 2 degrees in Scorpio. That's going to be extremely gnarly. The lunar eclipse is going to be over Russia and Ukraine. Now, anytime the lunar eclipse is over a certain place, especially a place of conflict or things like that, because I know in 2020, the lunar eclipse, when there was in Cancer and Capricorn with the nodes there, the lunar eclipse went over Wuhan just before, and it really activated a lot of energy within China. It's done the same when it's activated energy over the Pakistani Chinese China border as well. So now we have this happening with Russia and Ukraine. So that's going to activate something there. I do see explosions happening. I do see a lot of, this is all the energy in the skies right now are war. I mean, they're an activation of war. They're an activation of some um conflict within our world, conflict within ourselves, conflict with what is going on with around us. And here we are trying to figure out what that conflict is, or trying to get a resolution to that conflict. And with that, being said, when you look at the things that are happening, especially in Europe, and with the pipeline, I mean, that's $20 billion. $20 billion was just I mean, they're not even talking about the environmental part, of course not, because that would go against their narrative, right? But $20 billion. So now they're going to go off, and within 2 days, was it 2 days afterwards, a pipeline is coming through, but the pipeline's coming through Finland, Norway, Denmark, and into Poland, then over to Berlin. Now the reason why it's going that way, because they didn't want to have the conflict of it going straight into Germany. And who controls the EU is Germany. Germany's a big controller of the EU. So the thing is that it going into Poland, and I've said this before, this is where something weird is going to happen in Poland. There's going to be something that is going to happen in the next few weeks, and this is really going to kickstart things um, with World War III. This is an activation point right now, and we're going to start feeling that pressure of the war, of of what's going to be happening. And I think when people when you talk about, I guess, nuclear war, and what I've been understanding and listening to a few of these, people who know more, that it's not, the nuclear explosions aren't like how, they show on TV and everything. It's a tactical a nuclear weapon, which it can pinpoint exactly where it wants to go and then explode there, and explode and devastate everything within a 5 mile radius. It can go zoning in a specific area, and so that's the type of warfare we're going to be looking at, is a tactical warfare. And this energy, yes, we're feeling it in the collective. We're feeling it all around us. Um, we're feeling the anxiety and the overwhelmness. Now, I'm amazed that many people are totally unaware of everything. I know today was Reconciliation Day with the Indigenous people of Canada, so send out blessings to the Indigenous people of Canada. But it's, and having a reconciliation um, all throughout Canada, but it wasn't recognized as an actual, I don't know, stat per se, for taking it off. And it's I mean, we were swamped. I was swamped anyways at work. And I don't know. I'm not going to say too much about that, because I can't really speak on it. And I'll just send out blessings to the Indigenous people. But that too, that uprising, that energy of of that reconciliation, of that, and of that healing, or the healing process that has to be done. Now here we are coming into an energy too, where nobody's taking the time to really look at the consequences of what's going on. And the crazy thing is, when you're looking at all of the energy, and especially when it comes to the astrology, and you're seeing how things are out, things are coming about. There's so many things going through my head right now. It's amazing that our world leaders don't want to take the time or the care to do the healing that needs to be done, or even putting the money towards where the money needs to be going, right? And that's very much a very sad state of affairs. I mean, you're seeing all of this money being doled out, but you're not seeing where, okay, well, why aren't we helping people in Puerto Rico? Why, there's the devastation that happened with the Hurricane Ian and stuff like that, which which is interesting for it to happen at this time of year. Just saying, it's fall, it's very late in the year for a hurricane and things like that to be hitting. I'm not saying there's a controlling factor, but it's just odd that hurricanes are hitting this late in the season. Just, you know, an observation. And this is where, with the light that's coming through, that's penetrating through all of the smog and all of the craziness, there's this light that just keeps coming in and coming in and coming in, and really wanting to bring in the reconciliation, really want to bring in the healing, really want to bring in this this time, to take time for all of us to really, take the step back and say, hey, what's important in my life? What do I need to be doing in my life that is important? What do I need to be doing that I, to bring forth my healing, whether it's a mental healing or a physical healing. Okay, let's go into the muggle world. Yes, there's a spiritual healing, but for this energy is really coming in within the mundane, and it's saying what is that mental healing that needs to happen? What are those feelings that you have been oppressing within your own self that you need to reconcile with? And the energies right now, and as we are going into the weekend, going into the weekend, is pretty gnarly. And they are very in your face, you know, um, on doing things and getting things, like this is in your face with a lot of energies. I mean, if I looked at a child being born over the last few days, I would just say that's a torn soul that's going to be totally tormented, through within their lifetime, being born at this time, or even, I mean, even within the last children born within the last 3 years are really heading, into they've come into a lot of karma, I would say, and having to work through a lot through this world and through their own selves. And that's going to be an interesting um life walk that they are going to be taking. I just, God bless them all. um The other thing with Pluto coming into a stationary, direct, that's usually, and especially when Pluto does that at the end of the sign, there's going to be a lot of deaths. So we're going to see a lot of people, jumping ship and not wanting to be here anymore. So there's going to be I'm going to say there's going to be a high death rates coming in over the next few weeks and few months with all of this. So that's going to be an interesting state of affairs, just saying. So yeah. But it's just crazy. It's like sometimes I feel like when I come on here, it's like I'm repeating myself, but it's every time I'm looking at the chart, it's like they're getting inchier, they're inching and inching, getting closer and closer and closer. I was listening. Who was I listening to? Oh, I was listening to an astrologer, a few of them. Anyways, one was doing on, the market and showing where, the Saturn Pluto connection was, and then where Jupiter Pluto connection, and they're showing how everything was dropping with all of these transits that have been happening over the last few years, and where the ones that are coming up, with the Saturn Uranus square and stuff, that this energy that's coming forth is dates back to 411, which was the fall of Rome. And I'm just like, what? That's crazy. That's just crazy. That's very gnarly. And then the transition that happened with the fall of Rome, and then that's when the Catholic Church really came in very strong throughout Europe. Um, and the whole change started to happen. So this is where I feel like there is this falling that's happening, but a change of guard that's coming in. And what that's going to look like is going to be interesting. I feel like, when I say the word reset, there is going to be some kind of, they have to do some kind of rebalancing of accounts. Um but how they're going to do it, you know, they could shut down everything for 8 to 10 days. So, and that's the banking system. Because right now the banks can take up to 35% plus of anything that's in your bank account, and they don't have to give it back. So for me, not that I have a lot of money, but I sure now don't keep a lot of money in my bank account. And I try to get either take money out, or when do you think this is happening? Now. This is happening now. It's happening all over the world. I mean, the pound just dropped the other day on Wednesday, the pound. I mean, and they had to buy it out through the bonds. So how did they buy it out? They buy it out utilizing, people's securities. And they buy it out by using people, when it comes to pension plans. So if people are depending on OAC or CPP in the next 10 years, there probably isn't there will not be an OAC or a CPP. The government's going to be using that to bail out. So I've been this is why I've been telling people, have cash on hand, right? Have cash on hand. Because if the pipeline going through Poland, and that's where the war is going to start, is in Poland, because that's where the war always starts, is in Poland. Because, Poland, unfortunately, is the ugly, scrappy redhead kid that gets beat up on the block all the time. That's the one that they pick on. And the thing is that NATO's coming from one side and Russia will be coming from the other side. Same thing that happened in World War II. Germany came in one side, USSR came from the other side. Now, the banks have to be reset in some way, or there's got to be something that's going to be happening because um, things are so out of control. And when I'm looking at the astrology, I mean, I said from January, I said September, October, November are really going to be gnarly months. We're going to be going through some really crazy activations and changes within the world. And that's what we are going to be seeing, and we're going to be seeing a lot of unfolding. Along with that, there's going to be there's this great light and as I say, reconciliation and love that's coming through for us to really focusing on where are you having fun? Are you booking your Christmas party? Are you planning to go out? I mean, next Saturday or next Sunday, we're going to a birthday party. We're going to Steve's nephew's birthday party and we're going to be going to Save on Foods big dinner that they're hosting at the Gray Eagle here in Calgary and stuff like that. So it's not to stop living. You got to continue living. You got to continue. Yeah, let me go plan and have some fun with my friends. Let me go out and spend some time with my family. Thanksgiving is next week. What are you doing for planning for Thanksgiving? What are you doing to gather in, whether it's with family or friends or just with one person? It doesn't matter. Um, this is the other part of the energy. This is what you have to really look at, right? And along with that, it's like also looking at where can I, stream down on, right? We're going to find it's going to get harder to get a credit card. It's going to be harder to get a loan, going to be harder to get a mortgage or buy a car or whatever over the next few years. So do with what you have. Make sure that you are keeping what you have maintained, right? So maintaining the things that you have. And that's coming back down to the basis. It's coming back down to the grassroots. It's coming back down to what is truly important in the world today. And it's been misconstrued in so many ways where, people like Virgin is like saying, oh, if wear whatever you want to wear if you're a stewardess or a pilot. And it's like, okay, you're pushing the narrative too far because that's not what's important. That's when it's coming back down to the truth and the values in this world, right? And that's what we got to start looking at. And that is where the change and the reset is coming in. It is the grand push to create a new world, a new energy, so that people can start to begin to really live the life, not live just to consume, but to live a life and enjoy it and enjoy the people that you have around you. That's that's really where everything is being drawn to. And when I'm talking about the banks and stuff like that, that's happening now. They're doing it now. They're starting to, I mean, if you they it used to be that they used to hold 10% of whatever you deposit in the bank. They're not holding nothing. They don't have to anymore. Since COVID, those laws have changed. But nobody realized, or nobody was paying attention either. Even though I was tooting my horn and bringing out warnings and warnings and warnings, you know, um, and that's all part of these changes that are happening, and many of them are uncomfortable and frustrating and overwhelming, and so of course that triggers a lot of mental illness and stuff that can come in with this all. So we're heading into new territory. We're heading into territory, and more, I guess, stress. We're going to be feeling the stressors coming down on us. And I think it's going to get more people freaked out. I think this is a time where you're going to see more people's paranoia start to show up again. And we're also going to be, seeing some form or some kind of restrictions coming in over the next couple months. Within our society. So, and those restrictions, as I said, are going to be environmental restrictions. So there's going to be some kind of form of restrictions that I feel, and just by the astrology, just looking at the astrology, that are going to come in. And something crazy is going to be happening with Bitcoin. So if anybody's invested in Bitcoin, do your due diligence on it. And make sure that you're educated with what you're doing. Just don't go, willy nilly and just sort of buying up craziness. But do your, due diligence on everything when you're doing that. So, I'm gonna yawn. Whew, excuse me. Told you I was tired, but it's been a hell of a week. That's all I gotta say. It's been a hell of a week, and yeah, the energies have been pretty heavy for myself as well. So. I'm still doing readings. So if you are wanting a reading, definitely get a hold of me. I try and keep my availability when I'm off as open as I can for people. So, like on Sunday, I'll be doing readings. Tomorrow evening, I'm going to be with Andrea at, man, and I got a brain like a fucking sieve. At the May no, that was Maybon Park. Um, Anyways, there's a market tomorrow evening. It's, to dress as a witchy. So there's a beautiful market coming up this weekend. I'm just trying to find the information of it if you're in Calgary, and I'll be at it. I'll be helping. I'll be helping. Pagan spirit events. It's called the Season of the Witches. October 1st at 4111 10th Avenue Southwest, Calgary, Alberta. It's from 4 to 9, and it's going to be where you can dress up like little witches if you want. And I'll be doing readings, and whatever else I'm supposed to be doing there. So, and it's in the evening from 4 to 9. So I'll be doing some readings and stuff there as well. So it should be an awesome market. She has some really good vendors there. It was sold out, so there's 20 plus vendors that are going to be there, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. She told me to dress witchy, so I don't know. Do I just go normal? I had a weird feeling the other day when I was at work. It was so odd. It was an eerie feeling, like I was getting everything set up to open, and all I got in my head was like, the witches are coming. That's what came to me. And I looked outside, and it was just it just felt odd, and I just called in my light. I called in, all of that of love and light and everything to surround me, to protect me, to keep me safe, because I didn't, with that feeling when I got it, it just felt odd. It just felt odd with that energy saying the witches are coming, and um I wasn't it just I'm going to say didn't it felt odd, it didn't feel good, it didn't feel bad, it just felt odd. So I know, and through that I know something is being activated. So, when the witches are gathering, things get activated, right? So when you get some beautiful witches together, um you felt weird the last few days too. Yeah. Cool. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm glad Lexi and I have both been feeling weird. That's awesome. Um, but something's being activated. I feel like there is activations being happening. People are gathering to activate. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. But then you do with that Neptune, in a Sessi squad between hitting that midpoint between Saturn and Pluto, that could be very good stuff, and that could be really crazy, fucked up stuff, because that's Aquarius, Capricorn, and you can get some really crazy alien shit coming through there. So you really have to make sure you know what the fuck you're doing, right? It's hard to breathe for the last month. Yeah, a lot of heaviness, definitely, Laura. Like there's this real I'm going to say activation again. So there's these activating energies that are happening. And I think with the forces of evil that are coming up, that are really forcing agendas that people don't want. And it's like someone, you're telling somebody, don't do it. And they continue doing something, and you have no way of stopping them from doing their actions or doing what they're doing. And so you resort to your spell work. So if you're doing any form of spell work, make sure that you protect yourself, um and make sure you know that this is the spell I want to do, because I feel like anything that you are wanting to activate at this time can be activated. But it's like, with when you when you get a genie and the genie says, make sure you know what your wish for, make sure you know what you're doing, right? So really look into, if you are doing any form of activation or spell work, that you are looking into it at this time, because this is an energy too that can make things go. You're thinking it's going to go one way, but it's not. And that's Uranus. And it could take you on a fucking loop, right? And, and there's also the square with Eris. I mean, that square to Eris and Pluto has been happening for a long time. But with Pluto, will be slowing down and then going direct. I mean, Eris is, she's the daughter of chaos. And so she's bringing in a lot of chaos in the world and disruptions, but her chaos is to help and to defend and to really bring forth, peace and here I'm going, peace and reconciliation. Yes, the monkey paw. um, so some reconciliation there. So I mean, Eris is coming in strong too. There's some really strong goddess energy that's coming in, and that is, when the goddesses start coming in, you you got to honor them. You just don't dismiss a goddess. Just say, you don't just like, oh yeah, and then walk away. Goddesses demand respect, right? They really demand that respect. And there is, what did I write over here? So noticing all of the ways we feel off or out of harmony with our own inner and outer worlds. So with Mercury retrograde will soon be behind us, but there are still several other planets in retrograde. which may have been causing delays or confusions around your some of your plans. So instead of getting caught up in the projects not moving along more quickly, this is a time to learn to find a flow in the moment and move into that moment and enjoy the journey to the reaching of the goals more. And that's very, very important. Um, because if you're not moving in with the flow, you're going to find you're just, you're just going to feel kind of out of it. So, ooh, exciting, Corey. Nice. Welcome. Come on down. So we have the full moon in Aries that's going to be happening on the 9th. So anybody who's ordered their new moon readings, they'll be getting them over the weekend before Thanksgiving. And I'm just looking at, yeah. And then the new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio. Oh my God. That's on the 25th. And then then Mercury goes retrograde on the 30th. So, oh, I just want to go. Yeah, you can still definitely order if you are wanting six readings. Six new and full moon readings are 125, and or else they're $25. So next year they're going up to $30. So um yeah, it's just it's a lot of craziness, and the banks in the states are having a hell of a time. One of my where is she at? Louisiana. Um, her husband was in LA, and he's a an economist prepper and talking to people about the economy and how to prep. He's been doing it for I don't know years. Anyways, she wanted to take some money out of the bank, and they didn't have any money in the bank. That was in Louisiana. We've had that up here in Canada where somebody wanted to get a bank draft, and uh, the bank wouldn't do it because they didn't have the money in the bank to do it. Uh, we're seeing the same thing throughout, through within different banks, where if you are wanting to take over $1,000 out of the bank, you have to make an appointment to get that money out. So it's like if you earn money or if you get paid in cash, I wouldn't be putting all my money in cash in the bank. I would definitely put what I need to pay my bills and cover my bills, but I wouldn't be putting all of the money. It's like, like grandpa used to do, put it under your mattress. So it's, and especially with that eclipse hitting hitting at the end of the month. I mean, that solar eclipse is really it's going to be powerful. I'm just saying it's going to be very powerful with that energy. So it's super important to stay in your light. And being a Scorpio, it's my thing is to really to stay in my light, to stay in my purpose. It's so fucking important. So, because things are going to start to erupt like crazy. That's what I'm feeling. And I feel like there's going to be a nuke dropped. I just feel it. Um over within this month, within the next few weeks, definitely. So there's going to be something crazy activating there. I know right now in Canada we're safe for now. That's all I'm going to say is we're safe for now. Um I for for whatever reason, Putin doesn't want to take over Europe. He has no plans on taking over Europe. Um, taking over Europe is just it's but he wants to form an economy of trade. That's the big part, is to have an economy of trade. And that's the other part of this energy, is to really get people to look at their own your own efficiency and your own reliance, and are you able to be, do you have things around you that are important, that you can rely on, that you can create from? That's an important piece to all of this as well, because not everybody is self-reliant, and to be able to think on their feet, kind of thing. So that's the other, big part of this energy that's coming through, is like, are you able to think on your feet? Are you self-reliant, within your world? And are you able to go without certain things? So that's the other part too. Because, as I say, the energies is showing that there's pulling back on stuff. So there's going to be a lot of pullback on different forms of energy. So we got to look at our electricity and stuff like that. They did come back with something. Oh, it was sent to me, and I think it was in the Globe. They were talking about Alberta, and Alberta coming in with some restrictions when it comes to the electrical grid. So, which is, I think that's crazy, but because I'm just like, okay, anyways, it's crazy. But there's going to be that energy that's going to be coming in, because everybody wants, especially the West, wants to do good, right? Wants to do good for the environment, wants to be good for the environment, but nobody's thinking long term. Nobody's understanding or even paying attention to the market or the dollar. And it doesn't matter if it's not necessarily our dollar, but even the pound or the euro and stuff, nobody's paying, or it's not even being mentioned. So they this is where I feel, for school systems need to be have a fucking shakeup, and kids need to learn about the economy. They need to learn about money and how money structures work. That would be an absolute, from grade 1 up. Like, start learning about what money is, and how to utilize it, what the structures are, and the history of it, the history of commerce. I think those things are important for kids to be learning, and if you don't know anything about it, start looking into courses. That's what I'm doing. I'm starting to look into courses on learning about the economy, learning how to do these things, because it is important. It's important to really have an understanding of it all. Even though that sometimes when I'm listening to some of these guys, I have to listen to it 3 or 4 times for it to get through my brain. Before it sort of like awakens and says, "Oh, okay, now I get it." But I find it's important, and then to understand the history of it all, and the history of commerce, and how it repeats itself, so that you have a better grip on your direction, on where you want to go in your life, when it comes to financials. Because it doesn't matter if it's, the money is physical, or if it's going to be all online. There is still a basis to it, and I think it's very important for us to have an understanding of it. And with Uranus in Taurus, I mean, Uranus isn't leaving Taurus anytime soon, not till 2026. I think it's 2026. You know, that's all I gotta say, But anyways, I'm exhausted and tired. It's been a very long week. And if anybody is interested in getting the mini readings, definitely get a hold of me. They are recorded and sent to you. So I'm going to watch a movie, and I am going to have a glass of wine and just chill. That's where I could probably have a glass of wine. Probably won't get through it. Now I'm going to be passed out in my chair, drooling. Oh my God. It's just so fucking crazy, man. It's just crazy, the energies. Hocus Pocus 2. Woo! Yes, that's coming out. So, sending you guys out so much love. Do your due diligence, please. There is Dan from I Allegedly. There's Neil McCoy from, you know, who who's an economist from the UK. Those two guys are really great, and then they can lead you to other people as well. And then if you want, you can listen to the Leo King. He does get advice and stuff like that when it comes to understanding the markets. There's some really great astrologers that do astrology when it comes to understanding the money in the market too. So that that always intrigues me, watching, seeing that. So yeah, so do your due diligence, get your, that's your homework. You got to learn things, people. So sending you guys out so much love. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you. I love you all. Stay strong, stay in your light, do your due diligence, and be the light. God bless you, and the goddess bless you. Bye bye, everybody.